Maya walked through the tall glass doors of the office building as the early morning sun painted the streets in gold. The building was huge, with shiny windows that reflected the city skyline. People rushed past, talking on their phones or carrying briefcases. Maya moved quietly among them, pushing her cleaning cart. Most people didn't even notice her. They thought of her as just another janitor, someone who kept the floors clean and the trash empty. For 15 years, Maya had worked in this building. She knew every corner, every hallway, every office number. She had seen employees come and go, watched managers argue, and observed the daily rhythm of the company. She had seen the CEO, Mr. Nolan, arrive every morning with his stern face and loud voice, commanding everyone as if he owned the place. People feared him, and some even avoided him. But Maya was different. She didn't fear him. She didn't need to. Maya's life was simple. She didn't have fancy clothes or expensive gadgets. Her apartment was small but comfortable. She liked it that way. Simplicity gave her clarity. While people chased titles and promotions, Maya quietly built something greater, something no one expected. As she pushed her cart down the long hallway, she noticed the cleaning staff chatting by the elevator. "Morning, Maya," one of them called. She nodded and smiled. Her mind was elsewhere. Today was not an ordinary day. Today, everything would change. She stopped in front of the CEO's office. The glass door was tall and polished, with the words Chief Executive Officer engraved on it. Through the glass, she could see Mr. Nolan seated behind his large wooden desk. He was speaking loudly into his phone, waving his hands. "I don't care what the report says. We need results, and I want them now." His voice echoed in the empty hallway outside. Maya waited patiently. She had been waiting a long time for this moment. 15 years of watching, learning, and quietly preparing had led to today. While everyone assumed she was only a janitor, she held a secret no one could imagine. She wasn't just cleaning the office. She was the owner. It was strange how the world worked. People judged others by what they saw on the surface. They never looked deeper. Maya had used that to her advantage. While people focused on their careers, she quietly purchased shares, invested wisely, and gained control. No one knew. Not Nolan, not the employees, not even the board. She had waited patiently for the right time. And that time was now. Maya took a deep breath and entered the CEO's office. Nolan looked up, startled. "Maya, what are you doing here?" he asked, frowning. "The office isn't open yet. You shouldn't be inside." "I'm here for the board meeting," Maya said calmly. Her voice was soft but firm. Nolan laughed loudly, almost mocking her. "Board meeting? You? You're the janitor." "This is ridiculous." Maya didn't move or speak for a while. She set down her cart and opened a small folder she had carried. She laid the papers on his desk. Nolan's eyes widened as he scanned them. This says you are the majority owner of the company," he stammered. "How is this possible?" Maya smiled, a quiet and confident smile. "For 15 years, I've watched this company. I've seen how you treat employees, how you make decisions, and how you take credit for work that isn't yours. Today, that changes." Nolan's face turned red with anger. "You can't do this." "I'm the CEO. I run this company." "Yes, you ran it," Maya said gently. "But now it belongs to me." For a moment, the office was silent. The walls seemed to shrink around Nolan, who could not understand what was happening. Maya's calm confidence filled the room. She had waited, prepared, and planned. Today, nothing could stop her. Maya turned toward the door and walked out slowly. Nolan sat frozen, staring at the papers, realizing that for 15 years he had underestimated her. He had never noticed the quiet janitor who cleaned floors. Yet now that janitor held all the power. Maya pushed her cart down the hallway, her head held high. Today was the first day of a new chapter, not just for her, but for the entire company. She knew the real work was just beginning, but for now she allowed herself a small, proud smile. The world would soon learn that leadership didn't always come with a loud voice or a fancy title. Sometimes it came quietly, patiently, and unexpectedly. Maya stepped out of the CEO's office and walked down the long, polished hallway. Her heart was steady, but inside a spark of excitement danced. 15 years of patience had led to this moment. The employees had no idea that the quiet janitor they greeted every day was now the owner of the company. Soon they would see that leadership was not about titles or loud voices. It was about vision, patience, and courage. She reached the main boardroom, where the walls were lined with portraits of former leaders. She pushed open the heavy doors and called out, "Good morning, everyone. The meeting is starting. A few employees looked up in surprise. Some whispered among themselves. Is Maya serious? One asked quietly. She can't be the one running this meeting, another said. Maya ignored their whispers. She walked to the front of the room and placed her folder on the large oak table. The board members began arriving, their expressions curious and skeptical. They expected Mr. Nolan to lead as always. Instead, they were greeted by Maya, who had cleaned their floors and emptied their trash for years. Good morning, Maya said calmly. I know this may be surprising, but I have something important to announce. For the past 15 years, I have quietly held the majority ownership of this company. Today, I am exercising that ownership to make a change. The room went quiet. Eyes widened, mouths opened, but no one spoke. Nolan, who had just entered, froze. Change? He asked, his voice trembling slightly. What do you mean? Maya met his gaze. Mr. Nolan, your time as CEO has ended. The board and I have agreed that a new direction is necessary. Effective immediately, you will step down and I will assume leadership. Gasps echoed through the room. Nolan's face turned red and he clenched his fists. You can't do this. I have been running this company for years. I am the CEO. Maya spoke with calm authority. Yes, you have been CEO. And for years I have watched the decisions you made. You have ignored employees' needs, taken credit for others' work, and created fear instead of respect. That ends today. Nolan tried to protest, pacing in front of the board members. He waved his arms, shouting, but Maya did not flinch. Her voice remained steady. Your leadership style has failed this company. It is time for a new era, one based on fairness, respect, and teamwork. The board members exchanged glances. One of them, Mr. Patel, spoke up. Maya is right. We have reviewed the company's performance under Mr. Nolan's leadership, and the results show a need for change. We support Maya's decision. Nolan's jaw tightened. He tried to argue again, but the board was firm. Your removal is final, said another member. We trust Maya to lead the company forward. The employees in the room whispered among themselves. They had always known Maya as quiet, helpful, and kind. She had always listened and noticed things others missed. Now they realized that her quiet strength was exactly what the company needed. Maya looked around the room, seeing the mix of surprise, respect, and curiosity in their faces. She took a deep breath. This is not about one person. It is about all of us. This company belongs to everyone who works here. Together, we will build a future where everyone's voice is valued. Nolan turned away, defeated. He had never imagined that the janitor he overlooked every day would be the one to remove him from power. For 15 years, he had underestimated Maya. Now he understood the cost of that mistake. Maya returned to the center of the room. Today is the first day of a new chapter. We will review our goals, improve our policies, and ensure that fairness guides every decision. I promise to lead with honesty, respect, and care for every employee. The room slowly filled with applause. Not loud, but sincere. Employees began to smile, some with tears in their eyes. They had been waiting for a leader who truly cared. And now they had one. Maya felt a small wave of satisfaction. She knew the journey ahead would be challenging, but she also knew she was ready. Leadership was not about power or control. It was about understanding people, listening, and acting with purpose. She had learned that lesson well during her 15 years of quietly observing the company. As the meeting ended, employees left the boardroom with renewed energy and hope. Nolan packed his things silently and left the office, knowing he had lost more than just a position. He had lost respect, trust, and the loyalty of those he once commanded. Maya stayed behind, looking at the room she now led. The future was full of possibilities. For the first time, she felt the weight of responsibility, but also the excitement of opportunity. She had changed the course of the company, and she knew this was just the beginning. After the board meeting ended, Maya returned to her usual routine, but nothing felt the same. The floors she mopped and the trash she emptied now carried a new meaning. Every step reminded her that the quiet janitor everyone ignored had become the person in charge. She walked through the hallways, nodding at employees who looked at her with a mixture of awe and curiosity. Good morning, Maya, said Lena, a receptionist who had worked in the office for 10 years. She smiled nervously. I didn't know you would be leading the company. Maya smiled back. It's a new day for all of us, she said simply. We have a lot of work to do together. Maya decided to visit different departments to meet employees personally. She wanted to understand their needs, their challenges, and their ideas. She knew that leadership was not just about giving orders. It was about listening, learning, and inspiring others. In the marketing department, employees whispered as she entered. "Is she really the owner?" one asked. "I can't believe it," said another. Maya knelt down to speak with a young designer. "I want to hear your ideas," she said. "Tell me what you think will help the company grow." The designer's eyes widened in surprise. You want my opinion?" "Yes," Maya said warmly. "Every voice matters here. Every idea matters." As she moved from department to department, Maya noticed small problems that had been ignored for years. Computers were outdated, the break room was poorly stocked, and employees felt disconnected from the leadership. She made notes quietly, planning how to fix these issues. Back in her office, Maya sat at the large CEO desk, a strange feeling settling in. This desk had once belonged to Mr. Nolan, the man who had underestimated her for years. Now she was in charge, but she didn't feel like a boss. She felt responsible. Responsibility, she realized, was heavier than authority. The next morning, Maya called a company-wide meeting. Employees gathered in the main hall, curious and slightly anxious. Nolan had already left the city, and Maya knew that some people were skeptical of the sudden change in leadership. She stepped onto the stage and looked at the crowd. "Good morning, everyone," she began. "I know many of you are surprised by the changes in leadership. I want you to know that my goal is simple: to make this company a place where everyone is respected, valued, and heard. We will work together to improve our environment, our policies, and our results." The employees listened closely, some nodding, some still unsure. Maya continued. "Starting today, we will implement new programs. We will have regular meetings where employees can share ideas directly with management. We will improve facilities, invest in better tools, and make sure everyone has opportunities to grow." A murmur of approval spread through the hall. People had not heard this kind of talk from the previous leadership. They were used to orders, rules, and fear. Now they heard care, respect, and opportunity. After the meeting, employees approached Maya one by one. Some shared concerns about long-standing issues. Others offered ideas for new projects. Maya listened to every person with patience and attention. She made notes, promising to act on the suggestions as soon as possible. By the end of the day, the atmosphere in the office had changed. People who had once felt unimportant now felt seen. The energy in the building shifted from tense and nervous to hopeful and motivated. Maya had not only taken over the company, she had started to earn the trust of those who worked there. Even the managers who had once followed Nolan blindly were beginning to respect her. They realized that leadership was not about commanding from a corner office, but about guiding, listening, and empowering others. Maya's quiet strength had already begun to transform the culture of the company. As she returned to her office that evening, Maya glanced at the janitor cart she had used for years. It reminded her of where she had started, of the years of patience, observation, and planning. She had been underestimated by everyone, but now she knew that the greatest power came from understanding people, not from a title or a loud voice. Maya sat at her desk, feeling a mix of satisfaction and determination. The challenges ahead were many, but she was ready. The company would be stronger, fairer, and more united than ever before, and she knew that her quiet, careful approach would make all the difference. The morning sunlight poured through the large windows of the office building as Maya arrived. Today was her first day actively implementing changes in the company. She pushed her janitor cart through the hallways, not to clean but to observe. Every detail mattered to her. The desks, the equipment, even the small break room. The office reflected the way employees were treated. Maya's first stop was the IT department. Computers were old, slow, and sometimes unreliable. Employees often complained about the delays, but under Nolan, nothing had been done. Maya knelt beside one of the technicians. "I want to replace outdated equipment," she said. "You need tools that make your work easier, not harder. Can you prepare a list of what we need?" The technician's eyes widened. You want to improve our computers?" "Yes," Maya said simply. "Everyone deserves the tools to do their best work." Next, she moved to the Human Resources office. She noticed piles of paperwork and outdated policies. Some employees had been waiting months for approvals, raises, or recognition. Maya made a mental note to review all HR procedures. She wanted a system where fairness came first and employees felt valued. By mid-morning, Maya gathered her management team. She looked at their faces, expecting skepticism, but saw curiosity instead. "We will start small," she said. We will improve the tools, the processes, and the environment. Our goal is not just profit. Our goal is respect and growth for everyone. I expect your full support." Some managers nodded hesitantly. One spoke up. "Maya, this is a big change. Are you sure people will accept it?" "They will," Maya said firmly. "If we show care and fairness, people will follow. Respect earns loyalty, not fear. And that is what we will build here." After the meeting, Maya walked through the halls again. Employees stopped her in surprise. "Maya, the meeting was inspiring," said one young staff member. "We've never seen leadership like this before." Maya smiled warmly. "It's only the beginning. We will do this together." She continued to visit departments, listening to problems and noting improvements. Some issues were small, like broken chairs or dirty coffee machines. Others were larger, like unclear communication, slow approvals, and lack of recognition. Maya addressed each problem carefully, planning practical solutions. Meanwhile, outside the office, Nolan sat in his apartment, frustrated and angry. Losing the CEO position had been a shock, but he was not used to being powerless. He called a few old contacts in the business world, hoping someone could help him reclaim his position. But every call ended in silence or refusal. The employees, the board, and even some of his former allies had accepted Maya's leadership. Back at the office, Maya implemented her first major change, a weekly open discussion. Employees could share ideas, complaints, or suggestions directly with management. She wanted everyone to feel heard. The first session was filled with excitement and nervousness. People spoke about challenges they had faced for years. Maya listened carefully, taking notes and promising to act on each concern. "This is amazing," whispered one employee to another. "I never thought anyone would care about our opinions." Maya continued the rounds of improvements. She organized the break room, ensured everyone had necessary supplies, and even personally fixed small issues to show that no problem was too small to address. Her presence inspired employees. They began working with more energy, more dedication, and more trust. By evening, Maya returned to her office. She looked at the building she had once quietly cleaned, and a sense of pride filled her. 15 years ago, no one had believed in her. Now she had not only taken control of the company, but she had begun transforming it into a place of fairness, respect, and growth. She realized that leadership was not about authority or fear. It was about care, action, and patience. And while the road ahead would have challenges, she was ready to meet them with calm confidence. The company had begun a new chapter, and Maya, once invisible, was now its guiding force. The morning light fell softly on the office as Maya arrived, her steps quiet but purposeful. The building felt different now. Employees greeted her with warm smiles, a stark contrast to the nervous glances they had once cast at Nolan. It was clear that the culture of the company was shifting, and Maya's presence was at the center of it. Today, she had planned a series of small but meaningful changes to improve the work environment. She started in the cafeteria, noticing that the tables were worn and the coffee machine was broken. "We will fix this," she told the staff. "Everyone deserves a place where they can take a break comfortably." The employees exchanged looks of surprise and gratitude. No one had ever cared about small details like this before. Next, Maya visited the accounts department. She noticed employees struggling with outdated software and heavy paperwork. "We will upgrade your systems," she said. "You should spend your time on work that matters, not fighting technology." The accountants nodded, their expressions filled with relief. For the first time, they felt that leadership understood their daily struggles. Maya's attention then turned to employee recognition. She had noticed that hard work often went unnoticed under Nolan's rule. She began planning a simple program. Every month, employees who contributed ideas, solved problems, or helped their teams would be recognized in a short ceremony. She believed that acknowledgement could inspire motivation and loyalty. By late morning, she gathered the department heads for a discussion. "We are not just changing policies. We are changing the culture," she explained. "We will focus on fairness, respect, and opportunity. Every employee should feel valued and empowered." One manager raised a question. "Maya, how will we handle those who resist the changes? Some people are used to fear and strict rules." "We lead by example," Maya replied. "We cannot force respect or trust, but we can demonstrate it every day. Over time, people will see that our way is better. It is stronger because it inspires, not because it scares." The conversation continued with managers offering ideas and solutions. Maya listened patiently, encouraged discussion, and asked thoughtful questions. By the end of the meeting, the group felt unified and ready to implement the new initiatives. They had never seen leadership like this before. Meanwhile, employees throughout the building began noticing small but meaningful shifts. Break rooms were cleaner, new coffee machines appeared, and computers were upgraded. Weekly discussion sessions allowed employees to share ideas directly with management. Suggestions ranged from improving workflow to adding wellness programs. Maya listened to each one and promised to act. Employees felt heard and valued for the first time in years. In the afternoon, Maya walked through the office quietly, observing interactions. She noticed smiles, laughter, and genuine collaboration. Employees were helping one another, sharing knowledge and supporting projects. The atmosphere was filled with energy and positivity, a sharp contrast to the fear-driven environment under Nolan. Some employees approached her cautiously. "Maya, thank you for listening," said one young worker. "We never thought leadership could be like this." Maya nodded gently. "It is only the beginning. Change takes time, but together we can build a company that respects and supports everyone." By evening, Maya returned to her office. She looked out at the city skyline, reflecting on the transformation that had already begun. The building that had once seemed cold and intimidating now felt alive and full of hope. 15 years of observation, patience, and careful planning had brought her to this moment. She realized that leadership was not about titles or authority. It was about understanding people, acting with fairness, and inspiring trust. As she prepared to leave for the day, Maya felt a sense of quiet pride. The employees were beginning to believe in her vision. The company was slowly evolving into a place where respect, care, and collaboration came first. She knew challenges would come, but she was confident in her approach. Change was possible, and it was happening. Maya walked down the hall one last time, seeing employees working together with energy and focus. She paused near her old janitor cart, now a symbol of her journey from quiet observer to company leader. A small smile crossed her face. 15 years ago, no one believed in her. Today, she was not only in charge, but she had begun creating a company where everyone could thrive. The next morning, Maya arrived at the office with a calm determination. The building felt alive in a way it never had before. Employees greeted her warmly, their smiles genuine. The change she had begun to create was taking root, and the atmosphere was shifting from fear and tension to energy and hope. Maya began her day by visiting the customer service department. She watched as employees answered calls, some handling complaints, others assisting customers with questions. She noticed that many employees looked tired and stressed. She spoke quietly with the manager. "We need to make sure everyone has proper breaks and support. Happy employees create better results. Can you prepare a plan for better schedules and resources?" The manager nodded, surprised by her attention to detail. "We've never had leadership that noticed this before," he said. Maya only smiled. She believed that listening carefully and acting thoughtfully were more powerful than any speech or order. Next, Maya went to the product development department. She saw a group of employees struggling with limited tools and outdated materials. "We will provide better resources," she said simply. "You need what it takes to create your best work." The employees looked at her with disbelief, but also with hope. For years, no one had cared about the challenges they faced daily. Now the owner herself was solving them. By mid-morning, Maya held a meeting with all department heads. She had prepared a plan to improve operations, boost employee morale, and increase efficiency. "Our focus is not just profit," she explained. "We are building a culture where people feel respected and valued. Everyone's voice matters. Every problem deserves attention. We will work together to make this company stronger." One manager hesitated. "Maya, some employees may resist these changes. How should we handle it?" "We lead by example," Maya said calmly. "Respect and fairness will always speak louder than fear. People may be cautious at first, but they will respond when they see real care. That is how loyalty is built." After the meeting, Maya continued her rounds. She visited each department, talking to employees personally, listening to their suggestions and answering questions. Some shared frustrations they had held for years. Maya took careful notes and promised to address each one. Employees began to feel a sense of trust that they had never felt before. In the afternoon, she implemented a new mentorship program. Experienced employees were paired with newer staff to share knowledge, skills, and guidance. Maya believed that empowering others would create long-term growth. She personally visited some of the pairs, offering encouragement and advice. The employees were inspired. They began to work together with more focus and energy. Meanwhile, whispers about Maya's leadership spread across the company. Employees talked in hallways and lunchrooms comparing experiences with the old CEO. "I can't believe she listens to us," said one employee. "She actually cares about what we think." By the end of the day, the office buzzed with renewed energy. Employees were collaborating, sharing ideas, and taking initiative. Maya walked through the building, observing small but meaningful signs of change. Broken chairs were replaced, new coffee machines hummed in the break room, and computers were being upgraded. Every improvement reminded employees that they mattered. In her office, Maya looked at the city skyline through the tall windows. She reflected on the transformation that had already begun. 15 years ago, she had quietly worked behind the scenes, observing, learning, and planning. Today, her careful preparation was paying off. The company was more than profits. It was a community where respect, collaboration, and growth mattered. Maya smiled to herself. She knew challenges would continue and resistance would appear, but she was ready. Patience, consistency, and care had brought her this far, and they would guide her forward. The company had begun a journey of true transformation, and Maya, once unnoticed, had become the heart of it all. As she left the office that evening, she paused near her old janitor cart. It reminded her of her journey from quiet observer to powerful, thoughtful leader. She knew that leadership was not about shouting or commanding. It was about understanding, listening, and acting with purpose. And with that, Maya turned off the lights, ready to face another day of building a better company for everyone. A few weeks had passed since Maya had taken over the company, and the changes were becoming noticeable. Employees were more productive, motivated, and confident. The office atmosphere was lighter, filled with laughter and collaboration. Yet outside the walls of the building, Nolan was growing restless. Losing the CEO position had been a shock he could not accept. He contacted former business partners and lawyers, hoping to regain control, but each attempt failed. Everyone had recognized Maya as the rightful leader. Maya, however, was unaware of Nolan's plans. Her focus was on the company and the people who worked there. She walked through the office in the morning, greeting employees, checking in on departments, and noting any remaining issues. Her leadership was calm and methodical, and the employees trusted her. In the finance department, Maya noticed that reports had been delayed for months under Nolan's management. She asked the team about the problems. "We've been struggling with old systems and lack of guidance," one employee explained. Maya nodded. "We will upgrade the software and improve communication," she said. "You deserve tools that make your work easier, not harder." Meanwhile, a small group of senior managers began to worry. They had been loyal to Nolan, and some feared the changes he might attempt. Maya noticed their hesitation and decided to address it directly. She called a meeting with the group. "I understand that some of you may be uncertain about the new direction," she began. "Change can feel uncomfortable at first, but we are building a company based on respect, fairness, and collaboration. Your support is not about loyalty to me. It is about loyalty to the people who make this company successful. Together we can achieve more than ever before." The managers listened quietly. Maya's calm and thoughtful approach left little room for argument. Slowly, they nodded in agreement. They realized that Nolan's leadership had relied on fear, but Maya's relied on trust and action. Later that day, Nolan tried one last attempt. He entered the building with a team of lawyers demanding a meeting with the board. Maya was informed immediately. She remained calm, her eyes steady as she walked to the boardroom to face him. Nolan raised his voice, attempting to intimidate. "I demand my position back. I am the CEO, and this takeover is illegal." Maya remained composed. "You were CEO, but leadership is more than a title. It is about responsibility, fairness, and vision. The board and I have verified every legal detail. You are no longer in charge." The lawyers presented documents, but they confirmed Maya's rightful ownership. Nolan realized that no argument could reverse the decision. The board, standing firmly behind Maya, refused to reconsider. His threats and anger had no effect. Finally, Nolan left the office, defeated. He had lost his position, his authority, and the trust of the employees. Maya returned to her office, her calm demeanor unchanged. She knew that leadership was tested not by smooth days but by challenges, and today she had passed that test. Afterward, Maya addressed the employees. Leadership is not about fear or intimidation, she said. It is about vision, fairness, and care for everyone. Today we faced a challenge, and together we proved that our company stands on strong values. We will continue to grow, improve, and succeed as a team. The employees cheered, their respect and loyalty to Maya stronger than ever. They had witnessed not only her authority but also her courage and fairness. The company had faced a threat, but it had emerged stronger, united by the leader they had once overlooked. By evening, the office felt calmer. Maya walked quietly through the hallways, observing the employees. She saw collaboration, focus, and energy in every department. She paused near her old janitor cart, remembering how far she had come. The journey from a quiet observer to a respected leader had not been easy, but it had been worth every step. Maya smiled. She knew challenges would continue to come, but she also knew that with patience, fairness, and determination, she could face anything. The company was thriving, employees were motivated, and the culture of respect was firmly in place. Maya had proven that true leadership was about more than titles. It was about character, vision, and the courage to act when it mattered most. Morning sunlight spilled into the office as Maya entered, calm and confident. The building now felt different from the days when Nolan ruled with fear. Employees greeted her warmly, not just as their boss, but as a leader who cared. Her presence inspired energy, focus, and collaboration. The company was thriving under her guidance, and she could see the difference in every department. Today, Maya had planned a series of initiatives to strengthen the company culture even further. She began in the employee lounge, arranging a small breakfast for all staff. It was a simple gesture, but it sent a powerful message. Every employee mattered. People smiled and thanked her. Some quietly admitted they had never been recognized or appreciated before. Maya nodded warmly, listening to their stories, understanding their struggles, and noting ways to improve. Next, she visited the operations department. Machines hummed efficiently, and employees worked with focus and enthusiasm. "How are things going here?" Maya asked the team leader. "Much better," the team leader replied. "The new systems you implemented make work easier, and morale is higher. Employees feel respected, and that motivates them." Maya smiled. "That is exactly what we are aiming for. Keep up the good work, and continue to share any challenges with me. We grow stronger together." By mid-morning, she gathered all department heads for a planning session. Maya outlined long-term goals, including further investments in technology, training programs, and wellness initiatives for employees. "Our goal is simple," she explained. "We will continue building a company that values people as much as profits. Leadership is not about control. It is about guidance, respect, and vision. Every employee should feel heard, supported, and motivated." One manager spoke up. "Maya, your approach has already changed the company. People are more productive and collaborative. I think they trust us because they see us acting fairly." "Exactly," Maya said. "Trust is earned, not demanded. Every action we take must reflect our values. If we do this consistently, we will create a culture that lasts for years." After the meeting, Maya walked through the office quietly. She paused at the marketing department, observing employees brainstorming ideas with excitement. Laughter and conversation filled the room. In the customer service department, staff were calm, confident, and engaged, handling queries efficiently. Everywhere she looked, she saw energy, creativity, and commitment. Even the managers who had once doubted her were now inspired by her leadership. They realized that Maya's calm, patient, and thoughtful approach had created results far beyond what fear or authority could achieve. The employees were not only working, they were thriving. In the afternoon, Maya hosted a company-wide celebration. Employees gathered in the main hall, sharing stories, ideas, and successes from the past few weeks. Maya spoke to them with warmth and sincerity. "We have come a long way together," she said. "This company belongs to all of us. Every effort, every idea, every moment of dedication matters. Today we celebrate our growth, and tomorrow we continue building a future where everyone is valued." The applause was loud, heartfelt, and sincere. Employees felt a sense of unity and purpose they had never experienced before. Maya's leadership had transformed the company into a community, and everyone felt part of it. As the day ended, Maya returned to her office, looking out over the city skyline. She reflected on her journey from a quiet janitor to the company's leader. 15 years of patience, observation, and careful planning had brought her here. The company was thriving, employees were motivated, and the culture of respect was firmly established. She glanced at her old janitor cart, a symbol of her journey. It reminded her that leadership could come from unexpected places, and that true power was not in titles but in vision, patience, and action. Maya understood now that even the smallest steps, taken consistently and thoughtfully, could lead to remarkable change. With a sense of quiet satisfaction, Maya turned off the lights and walked down the hallway one last time. She knew the road ahead would bring challenges, but she was ready. Her leadership was built on respect, care, and trust. The company had been transformed, and its future was bright. Maya, once unnoticed, had become the guiding force that inspired hope, growth, and success for everyone. The building was calm as she exited, but inside, it was alive with energy, ideas, and dedication. Maya smiled, knowing that she had not just taken control. She had created a company that would thrive under her guidance for years to come. She was no longer just the janitor. She was a leader who had changed everything.